welcome to the Work With Flair podcast, the space where we talk about work, but not just work the way we think of it. We talk about work in the sense of how we show up and how we make a difference in the work we do. We are more interested in the energy we bring to work, the originality that we bring to work, and how that translates into the impacts that we make. So this is what we'll be discussing on this program. So I want to start by, first of all, conscientizing you of what we mean when we talk about work. There are two broad themes that I want you to think about. Work is energy. Wherever your strength is going physically, emotionally, spiritually, towards a goal, and you're trying to achieve something, you are working. The second thing I also want you to think about is that work is occupation. Whatever occupies you takes up your time. You can think of the work you do every day. You can think of the role you have. Anything that is in that category can be considered as work. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And an interesting thing I've noticed over time is that whenever people gather and they are talking and you get close, you'll notice that they are talking about work. It's either they are sharing their highs, their frustrations, or the mundane things that are happening at work. That goes to show that work is a big part of our lives. And that's why we are having this conversation today. Over the past 4 years, I've been on a personal crusade, but that crusade started because at a point in my life, I was frustrated, but I couldn't quite find the language to explain what was going on with me. And one of the reasons why Work With Flair podcast has come is because over time, we have a language that helps us to explain what happens to us whenever we are working. And I'm not going to do that alone today. Even though it's our first official episode, I'm so thrilled to introduce someone today. And she's someone who needs no introduction. She's worked for over 2 decades. And she's been in diverse industries. We're talking about human resource management, public health, project management, and consultancy. And that's not all there is, but we'll limit it to this for now. And she's built a reputation of bringing clarity, conviction, and quiet confidence that gets things moving. In one of her current roles, she brings 3 things to light: brand, people, and purpose. And an initiative that she's so proud of is the initiative for women we often call Kayaye. And she's making a lot of impact in that space. At the heart of everything she does is one central conviction, that leadership is service. In her own words, I want people to remember me for who I am and the difference I made in their lives, not the title I came with. This is the kind of person I'm sitting across with today, and we are happy to have Hilda Smith on the Work With Flair podcast. Hilda, you're welcome.
Thank you, Michael.
It's a joy to have you.
Yes, a pleasure to be here as well.
Good.
Yeah.
So, we are talking about work today.
Yeah, and
sure you
I
have a
was just
lot to
wondering
say.
who you were introducing.
Yeah, I introduced you without a title. I
Yes.
hope I achieved that.
You did. You were good.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm happy to hear that. And work is something that we all do. Like I said, when we wake up, our eyes are up, we get out of bed, we start moving, we are working. So what is work to you? And how would you say your understanding of work has evolved over the years?
Okay, so work to me stems from the scripture.
Okay.
Whatsoever your hand finds doing, do
Okay.
it as
I
unto
love
the
that.
Lord.
Okay.
And so for me, in everything that I've found myself, I ask myself one question: if Christ is to come in and ask me, for accountability, what would be my response? Would I be found working, or would I be found lazing about?
Okay.
I'm not saying that because I have been the perfect servant throughout my work life, but that's one of the things that checks me.
Checks you.
When I am asked for that accountability, would I be found doing wanting or
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you get there? Because it's striking.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't get there by accident. I think that my upbringing has shaped me to be who I am, and then to give me the kind of work ethics that I work with. I ask a lot of questions, and that stemmed from the fact that my grandfather was a Supreme Court librarian.
Okay.
Yes. So most of my young growing up, we spent it in the Supreme Court library.
Okay.
And one of the things that he always instilled in me was the love for reading and the love for asking questions. And the love for not just asking thoughtful questions, but even the
Any
mundane,
kind of question,
you
okay.
know, the mundane questions. And one thing he will always say is that wherever you find yourself, service first, and the rest follows. So that's what has shaped how
Okay.
I work. Yeah.
Okay. So over the years, from when you started working to where you are now, how would you say your work life has evolved from starting life with this understanding, going into work, probably getting a few cultural shocks here and there?
Yeah.
How have you navigated that?
Well, I will say that, I started work not knowing who I am, who I was at that time. When you go to school, I mean, the mantra was go to university, study hard, go to university,
Pass your
pass your exams,
get a good job,
get
get
married,
have kids,
have
have a house,
have a
buy a
house.
car.
So it's like that script. But I realized that script is not as straightforward, as it was made. When you finish school and then your national service placement doesn't place you where you are.
You expected
You
to
are
be.
expected to be placed, and then you have to go and be with your mates who were doing national service and sort of serve with them with the hope that you will get a calling. You start learning other skills. You start knowing that, okay, some people came knowing the path. Some people have to clear the path, and some people have to actually create the path. So most of my life, I have been creating the path and clearing the path. I have not known the path. So right from national service, as I said, I remember trying to change. I think I was posted to national health.
Okay.
Insurance, and then I was told there was a protocol list, all those things
that they use.
Yeah, and then I had to go and be with my friend at Ghana Health Service, and then sort of I work with them. I didn't go and sit there.
And just
But whatever they were doing, whenever I went there, I will just go and then apply myself to it, and through that, the administrator at that time offered me the opportunity. He gave me the letter to come and join and then do my national service there. So that's how come work has started. So through that side, then I remember looking for other opportunities because I felt that environment didn't suit the kind of work
you wanted
I wanted to do, because I'm somebody who gets bored easily. So if I am going to work and I sit down most of the time and then there's no work to do, I feel like, yes, much as some people, if it's okay, because there are up days and then, there are down days. As I said, I didn't know myself then.
Yeah.
So over time, after national service, I started following most of the directors that I knew through national service, asking for job, writing, all the letters, seeking for employment and everything. And that found me in the NGO space. Okay. And it's not up till 3 years ago when I did the Flair assessment with you that I'm even supposed to be in the NGO space. I mean, that was,
prior to that, you had no concept that
I will end up in that space. I was quite naive about the whole work. I just needed to find a job. That was the thing. But then wherever I find myself drawing towards leadership.
Okay.
Supporting whatever it is that they do, taking interest in the work itself and not just the rudiments of it. So that's sort of what shaped me,
Okay.
into who I am today.
That's an interesting journey.
Yeah. It's been a roller coaster. To put it on
And
one
it
word.
leads to a follow-up question that I have. And I call this question the general specific question.
Okay.
It's general because everybody experiences it. It is specific because to the individual is unique.
Yeah.
And what I want to know is, in this journey that you've just described, at what point would you say you became conscious of what excites you, what doesn't excite you, what is just mundane and there's nothing exciting about it? At what point did you really start discovering yourself? Because you started off saying you had no clue who you were.
Yes.
So if you can shed light on that.
So I would say, so I call myself, I'm a consultant, right? But I always say I'm not an expert. I'm a generalist.
Okay.
So I morph.
General consultant.
Yes, I morph into whatever
is
required.
Okay.
But I think that COVID did a lot to some of us. During COVID, when we had to be at home for some time, and because of where I was working at that time, we were sort of part of the emergency
staff. So you had to be going to work.
So you had to be going to work, after I think one or 2 months at home, you had to be going to work. But you find out that you go to work, and my role at that time was a monitoring and evaluation officer, which involved a lot of field work. But then this time, you go to work and you're in the office. And there was really nothing to do. So that's when I'm like, okay, what's going on? I have overstayed my welcome. But the things that's maybe I'll be reading to, pique my interest in the work was no longer there. Yeah. I needed to find something more challenging to do. And that's when I realized that I'm good at, bringing people together, coordinating stuff, making sure that the right things are done. So I remember speaking to a friend, and then I'm like, Charlie, I'm bored here. And then God being so good, there was an opportunity that the person passed on to me. It was a consultancy to do something in medical gas, oxygen. And
did you have an idea?
I didn't have an idea, about what
you had no clue.
I had no clue.
Okay.
But when they sent the advert to me that this is what they are looking for, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do it.
So you said yes.
I said yes. We say yes and we figure it out. Later.
Were you scared? Did you feel intimidated?
I was scared because I had to still interview. It wasn't like because he passed
it. Done deal.
It was a done deal. I had to still interview for the job. And I told myself a long time ago that any interview that I participate in, the job is mine. Unless it's a cooked interview. So I had that confidence that
why that? Like why?
See, Michael, if you have gone to 1,000 interviews and you've not landed the role, you have to start making declarations.
You have to turn the coin.
You have to turn the coin. You have to start believing that you've got it. Because I study so much for the interview. Let me just digress a bit. It's because I spoke about interviews. I remember going for an interview and then seeing the panel and seeing someone that I actually knew on the panel, and the person made my life a living hell.
Oh.
Yes.
Why did they have something against you?
No, he just felt that I should know. I should know.
Disappoint him or break his heart somewhere?
No. He just felt, and that was a big lesson. Yeah. Even though I didn't get that job, that became a big lesson to me because I had looked at the job description and I had studied. As I said, I morphed into whatever. I had studied the job description and I could answer any question per
what they
had. I mean, the role entailed. But this man went off script.
Oh, okay.
Because this is health. And he was asking me about WHO
and all these
things, and I didn't know. So that made me realize that as an individual, you can't just stick to the script. You need to make sure that whatever industry that you find yourself, you broaden your knowledge so that you are not found wanting.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically what has, sort of guided me into being the kind of person and being able to also morph into
To
this
new
thing,
roles
into
when
new
there's a
roles.
need to.
Yes. And I think that, I met, or you introduced yourself, reintroduce yourself to me, bringing this whole Flair assessment thing. And I remember having this sessions with you, all in a bit to making sure that I'm finding myself and then realizing, like, purpose. Because at a point I was like, really, is my purpose just to marry, have kids,
Is
and
there
then,
more?
yeah, the same, or there's something more,
More that
and that's when the whole scripture came about. That's when I realized that I can marry my faith to work,
So whatever you do.
and whatever that I do, and then make sure that I excel in it. You get it, and I think that's been it from there.
Okay, so just before I go on, how did the oxygen role? I mean, you took the role without knowing what to do. How did you make that work?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I dare say so myself. So oxygen, I was the oxygen coordinator. So we had to. There was an engineer. I was working directly with the engineer. The engineer is doing the engineering stuff. But when items are donated, they need to. It comes with the whole fanfare, the politics around it, making sure that it is handed over,
to
the right folks, making sure that the right training is given to the people who are going to use it,
the equipment
and all that. So when we completed that, I think it was an initial 6 months consultancy.
Okay.
And then it was extended.
Renewed. Okay, extended.
For I think about a year. And then when I was done with that, the organization Chemonics International that I was working, they decided to, the country director at that time decided to offer me a permanent position, which of course I had to interview for. But then again, if I'm going to interview
you
for
have
it,
to get the job.
it's going to be mine. So that's how that ended. Okay. And I'm happy to say that even after the oxygen thing ended, we had a follow-on oxygen funding. And I dare say it's because, like, with people like myself who are still in the program, because the engineer had moved on at that time.
Okay.
Because so when you work in the development space, there's always some, funding around. So when that opportunity came, I was there and I was able to sort of like shape the discussions until the engineer came back to come in and do that. Yes.
So I just want to draw something out of what you've just shared.
Yeah.
What helped you get through this? Because it's a new experience. You didn't know anything about it. You learned on the job.
Yeah.
And then you grew into the role. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things you consciously did?
Steady.
Yeah.
You had to read. As I said, I didn't know
much about it.
Before I took on the oxygen job, as I mentioned earlier, I was in a monitoring evaluation role for tuberculosis.
Okay.
For 9 years.
9.
Yes. And I remember speaking tuberculosis language like I was someone trained
to cure people,
of it, because we were handling the trainings. So I knew the medicine, I knew, all the standard operating procedures, because we even had to write some of the standard operating procedures
to guide
that, and before that, I was just in an admin office somewhere. And then prior to being in an admin office somewhere, I had also worked, in magazine, where we go out and then go and talk to people. So different things. Okay. But again, studying, embodying the role, reading around it, and then making sure that you ask the relevant people the relevant questions. And then we are able to.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question that I think is striking, because you described yourself as someone who started off not knowing themselves. Mm-hmm. And then recently at Poimen Mastery Connect, we were talking about self-awareness.
Yeah.
And you happen to be one of the few people who confidently said they are self-aware. How did you transition from not knowing yourself to becoming very aware of yourself?
Okay, so This also happened not too long ago. I won't say I've always been like this. So 3 years ago, I started this journey. Actually, when I turned 40, I've always wanted to retire at 40.
Why?
They say life begins at 40, so I was looking forward to
Getting out
to
of
getting out and then enjoying what the life is. But when I got to 40, I realized I didn't have $1 million in my account. And I was not in the UN and all that.
All the goals,
it's like they've elapsed. And then I decided to now make my relationship with God, marry the things that I do
with your faith.
more intentional. So I remember this same question that you're asking. In my former church, I was asked to come and speak to the youth.
Okay.
And the topic that I chose to speak to them about, knowing who you are. And I remember going through the steps that at first I thought I was an Aquarius because I'm born in February, right? And so I went through all the rudiments of what is an Aquarius and everything. Then I thought I was an introvert. I wasn't an introvert. I wasn't an extrovert. I thought I was a choleric. I wasn't all that. Then I realized that I am a daughter of the Most High God. So what has that got to do with me as a person? That means that it's demanding of excellence in everything that I do. Yeah. So that is when I became like very self-aware, very intentional, in everything that I do.
So
in
you
the work
discovered
that
who you are.
I discovered who I was as, like what is expected of me as a daughter of the Most High.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was really the transition.
That was the transition. That's plus, of course, finding the purpose sessions that I've been having. We did. It's an eye-opener. Because I remember I was being a bit skeptical.
Yeah. I mean,
when you racial, I was like,
I don't want to do this. I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, this is for me and all that. And I'm not saying it because I'm sitting on your podcast.
I remember.
Yeah, you remember.
I remember.
But then again, the conviction was that, okay, if you really want to know who you are and what is your purpose on earth, then why don't you go on this journey and then find out what it says. At the end of the day, if you don't find out or you're expecting to find out, then hey,
at least
you know.
Yeah.
But if not, and I'm somebody who doesn't like not knowing. Like if there's a gap, a knowledge gap, I want to fill that gap. So yeah, that exercise, and then marrying, combining my faith to the work that I'm doing, and then seeking excellence in everything that I do is what has shaped me from age 40
up until now.
Yeah.
Wow. So I asked that question because people are busy. People are doing things. People are talking about their projects, their work, but much of it is busyness that doesn't lead anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then you'll find people who may not be doing much in social media terms, but they are fulfilled. So where do people strike the balance between being busy and being effective?
So, there's a term called busy bee.
Yeah.
What most people don't realize is that the busy the bee is, the more productive
it is.
But most people do not attach being busy to being to hard work.
Okay. Being busy is not equated to hard work.
It's not equated to hard work. We have this whole soft life, and I'm a soft life
believer.
But I also believe in hard work.
Okay.
And I think that being busy is just appearing as to doing work. Because if you don't know that the bee is going around looking for nectar, you might think
it's moving
by
aimlessly.
sight it's just moving aimlessly. And that is where most people find themselves, because we are not applying ourselves that I have to work hard at something. Yeah. But if I just appear that I am doing something, it's okay.
Exactly.
But when you move from the fact that just looking at what the bee is doing and actually pay attention to the bee, you will notice that the bee is looking for nectar, and he has to draw that nectar and take it back to the hive to make honey. Then you realize that to be effective, you have to work hard.
Yes.
So that you can produce results.
That's true.
You get it? So you can't just appear as doing
stuff, but there's no essence.
There's no essence to it. Yeah. And for me, if I go to work and I don't do anything, I don't get fulfilled. I want to earn my keep, but I want to make sure that I am doing something that will make an impact. So that when you give me the money, then it becomes sweet.
It's complete.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the things I've been stressing a lot in my coaching work is people learning to work on their non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what you've explained using the bee knows I need nectar.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable. Yeah. I have to fly out every day, bring it in for us to produce honey. It doesn't go looking for other things.
Yes.
And a lot of people are going out looking for other things without focusing on the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they appear busy, but there's no results or correlating efforts to everything that they are doing. Very, very interesting. You know, one of the things I've learned in my journey with this Flair conversations we've been having is learning to appreciate the language people use. Because language will give you an idea or a key into someone's thought life or thought world. So, for example, I was speaking to someone and the person immediately said, in the next 2 months, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, which was great, a great idea. But I found myself immediately going into critique mode. I started asking the person, okay, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And in the process of doing that, I noticed that the person started getting agitated. Without saying it, I could tell from the look on their face that, right, I just told you what I'm going to do, and you're now critiquing a decision I've already made. But you weren't there when I was making the decision. And I caught myself in the middle of my critique and withdrew my critique. And then I asked the person, okay, how can I help you execute this? And I noticed a shift in the person's demeanor. Later on, it appeared that when the person took the Flair productivity test, what came up was that they were people who were very intuitive. So they think through things thoroughly before they come out and make a decision. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I'm leaning into something very interesting that I discovered about you. And
through the Flair.
Yes, through the Flair. We happened to talk about it recently in a conversation. And it was the fact that you were in a space together with me. Things were not working out. I got a call randomly from you one day, and then you just started asking me hard questions. And if I didn't take time to understand who you were and where you were coming from, I would say, but why is she being so difficult? Why is she being why is she complaining when nobody else is complaining? But it took understanding the fact that being in a space where there's no clarity, it's like a pain point for you. It's something you can't live with.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yes. I like order. I live for order. And I remember telling a colleague of mine that, who was telling me, I said, oh, sometimes disorder is fine. I said, no, because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And when we see the process of creation, everything was specific to a point. I was like, oh, that's creation. We're not there. Okay, fine. Then what about Solomon? When he was given instructions to build the temple. Look at the precision. That was given. And that precision even didn't just come to Solomon, but right from Moses, even what the priest had to wear, it was very precise and timing. So much so that Moses, one of the beloved of God, decided to work on his own timing and strike 3 times when it was at speak.
and it
cost him. You understand? And then the whole the king was asked to strike the ground, and he strikes 3, and then it cost him. So I'm a stickler for, routine, not too much, but
Precision.
structure, precision, and then if I find myself in a space that it doesn't look like there's a leader, it doesn't look like things are going the way it should, then I get very,
You get very frustrated.
very frustrated. I get very frustrated. And sometimes what I'll do is either fight or flee. And in thinking your case, I decided
You fought with
I
me.
decided to fight, because I mean, in the space we're talking about, I'm thinking, okay, I have a child in there, so I mean, if this is it, why can't we make it better for everyone? If I am seeing this, if nobody is seeing it, at least let me just voice out. And that's one thing also, speaking up. I think it's considered un-Ghanaian, to speak up.
To speak your mind or speak your thoughts.
To speak your thoughts. And that's something that you will not find me most of the time. But over time, I think I've been able to
learn how to
learn
balance
diplomacy.
it. Okay.
Knowing when to speak and then when not to speak. Yeah.
So I think the amazing thing is that the Flair helped give you language for this feeling, because
exactly,
you may be feeling it and not know why you are feeling that way, and what you should do with the feeling, and how it should inform how you even work in a space. How it helps you to be aware of the environment, the culture, the people.
Yeah.
But it all starts with understanding yourself. And
I think that it's a great tool. If people take their time to understand themselves, the world will be a better place.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Understanding yourself, understanding the reason why you are here. And then asking yourself the question, why am I here? Also listening. Because at first I was very reactive.
To everything.
And because I'm an empath, things get to me, and I'm not thinking that this person did this because it's their problem, but I take on everything. Started affecting my health and everything.
Then at a point you just
then I'll just also blow up, and then that's it. But learning diplomacy, learning that I'm more intuitive. I take things in, I process it. And there's not everybody that is thinking that way. It's very, very
important,
useful. Yeah.
Okay. So what are one of the things that surprised you the most from your Flair assessment? Something that you saw that was like,
so I think I was looking at the reports, and then I was looking at areas that you can work. So it gives you the areas that you can work, and then NGO. Okay, I mean, I found myself
which
in the
is
NGO.
what you found yourself doing. Anyway.
Yes, so I was like, okay, all things work together for good. Then I find myself. I said, you will not be good at marketing. I said, me. That's the. I'm going to enter
You're
that
going
space.
To enter that.
I'm
space.
going to enter that space, and that's not false, because I've always stated. I don't know if you notice, like in almost every office, there are people selling everything.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody that I've told myself I can't sell anything to save myself. Like,
you'd rather not.
No, I'd rather not. Why is everybody selling? So, but when I read this thing, I was like, okay, sales and marketing, they are two different things. So I would not be good at marketing. Let me do. And then there was something about facilitating and then communication. So one of the people that I consult for, there was a gap to take on corporate communication and then digital marketing. Just shepherd the people, So I find myself
in this space that may frustrate you easily.
And trust me, even as of yesterday, I remember critiquing the content that one of our third-party agencies had come up. And I critique the content on the group page, and the vendor was responding, but she thought she was responding to her colleague off the chat, it just landed straight on my this thing. Wow. I just responded calmly. This came straight to me, So then I remember stating there that Wait, in fact, let me read it so that's
Okay.
you exactly what
What you saw.
I said to her yesterday. Yeah, I said, okay, I said, oh. So she said what she had to say. I said, so I told her what it is. And I said, same way we asked for this, I will give credit where it is due and also criticize constructively where it is due. Even though she came back with, oh, it's an honest mistake and everything. And that's the thing. I realized I had changed in me.
Yeah.
You know, marrying my intuitive side to also knowing that, okay, people are not thinking
Yeah, the way you are
that's
thinking.
the way you are
so you don't
thinking.
also have to go at things.
Exactly, you know, and the person was so apologetic and all that. But in the past,
That would have been a time to roll up your sleeves and have a go at the person.
Yes, we'll bring this back to where
and
you started.
yourselves.
We'll bring it back to, you know, I was one of those people that will do the email. You know, we are very diplomatic. So we'll do the email. We'll bring you to email so
And
that
then
everything ahead, so I can articulate
Wow.
everything. But working with the tool and knowing like what is my strength, what is not my strength,
And knowing how to navigate.
knowing how to navigate it has really helped, because now I'll not be, as I said, I know when to speak, and even when I'm speaking, I even know what to write
and what not to say
and what not to even write, because I write a lot. Okay. Because if I'll talk, maybe I'll raise my voice, and then you might not get the whole thing. It might go left. So I'll prefer
to write.
Then I can
and detach yourself from the emotions.
But then again, you realize that whatever it is that you write also stays for a long time with people. So sometimes it's better rather to talk than to write.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And I think what you said about knowing something that is a point of frustration and being able to lean into it with purpose, like you're doing. You may not enjoy selling, but you find yourself in a space where you have to do it, but you are doing it with intention.
With intention.
As opposed to someone who doesn't know and they are getting frustrated at every opportunity.
Maya, you know, one thing I like about this also is the fact that it tells you where you can work, like in which areas that you can work. And I'll tell you this off air, because one of the areas that it says I can work, I actually am planning to go back to do that. Okay. Because that's always been a dream. So I'm actually planning to go back to it. But if people take this and then they know where they can work and they know where their strengths are and they're actually able to apply themselves to it, it will help.
Yeah.
Because, you know, because I've worked in different industries, you find out people, square pegs in round hole, people are there because they just want to work.
Yeah.
But they can't really apply themselves because it's not natural.
Yeah.
So even if you are trying to guide them, you know, that, oh, do it this way, do it this way. They don't get it.
The space just doesn't work.
It doesn't work for them. But when you find people working in their natural habitats, in the things that give them, you know, the flair to do that, trust me,
they flourish. Yeah. I think it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. That's very true. So I was reading your unique profile.
Which one?
From the Flair assessment test.
Okay, let's go to it.
And it wrote down rare, discerning, momentum building, thrives on purposeful, collaborative work, drained by indecision, passivity, and chaos. Okay. And you've already told us about your dislike for disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think knowing this and going into a workspace with this saves you a lot of heartache.
It does, but sometimes you still have to go through the
heartaches.
Yeah, you still have to go through the
heartache. But you go through it knowing that this is who I am.
Yes, and that makes the difference.
Okay, so Hilda, it's been great having this conversation with you. As we wrap it up, I just want you to pass on a message to our listeners. What do you have to say about work, what you have to say about the Flair assessment, how it's helped you, and how you want to pass on a message to anyone watching today.
Okay, so yeah, work is anything you find yourself doing. So long as it is in the purpose and the will of God, do it with all your might. And work is service. And when you serve and do something that you are really passionate, not just passionate about, like something that fulfills you, the rewards come not just in money, but also in that's knowing in your heart, that satisfaction that you have done something that is changing the life of one person or the other. And for me, taking the Flair assessment test, it's really, I think everybody should, if they can, take the assessment test. One of the things I think I was telling you before we came on here was that I was asking my son to read the assessment,
the assessment
to me. And then one of the things he noted was that, Mommy, they said you don't like quiet places, but at home you are quiet, you know. So knowing who you are, the fact that I am a very quiet person as in terms of personality, and also knowing that I don't like chaos, he couldn't comprehend. But because I know I had taken this test, and then I have been able to compartmentalize
your life,
home and work. I was able to,
to make sense of what the statements were saying.
One thing is that we find ourselves mixing everything. We bring home to work to home,
and there's no distinction.
But what the Flair assessment helps you to do is to have that clear distinction, because when you take the test, you know that, okay, this is relatively about work.
This is about work. There
are other tests that you can take for personality and all that, but this is really about work
and how you are
how you show up at work. And the things that you can do, it actually gives you guys as to things that you can do to up your low areas. So anyone should try as much as possible to get the Flair assessment.
Thank you.
And taken, yes.
Thank you very much, Hilda. And to add to everything that Hilda has said, the Flair Productivity Test takes just 10 minutes and it's free. The free report gives you a profile. But if you want the comprehensive report, the one that gives you a full picture and gives you a guide into the steps that you can take, it's available for just 200 Ghana cedis. So if you want to access it, you go to flair.poimenleadership.org. I believe it's displayed on your screen as we speak. Take the 10-minute test, then come back and tell us what you found. And here's what I want to leave you with. Work takes up too much of your life to spend it on not knowing who you are inside of it. When you know your Flair, you don't just work harder, you work like yourself. That's the point I want to leave you with. So on that note, I want to thank my very first guest on Work with Flair, Hilda.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us and thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you for having me.
And to our guests, thank you for tuning in. Go bring your energy, your competence, and your originality to the work you do. We'll see you in the next episode.